Welcome to the channel. Mo Saeed Fitness Coaching here. And in this video, I am going to talk about my personal transformation journey. My transformation was approximately 12 weeks. And in this video, I'm going to talk about each stage and what I had to do to achieve this transformation. Now, disclaimer. I am not going to talk about my nutrition or my training or what I ate or how many macros or calories I consumed. I will not talk about that. I'm going to talk about the different stages I had to go through and the different things I had to implement into my day to be able to achieve this transformation. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about my nutrition or knowing more about my training regimen, then feel free to go to my Instagram. I will link it in the description, and there I show you my diet. I talk a lot more about nutrition. I talk a lot more about how I train and what my preferred method of working out is. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first stage of the transformation when I first started. So just to give you a little background before we start, at the time when I achieved my transformation, I wasn't working as a full-time personal coach, fitness trainer. I was working. That was my job on the side at the time. I was building it up, and I was working a full-time job, just as a busy professional. I was doing a sales job, and I was working the normal 9 to 5 hours. So I sort of lived that lifestyle of waking up, usually skipping breakfast, going straight to work, working, and then usually having lunch, and then finishing work around 5, 6 p.m. and then going back home, not really caring about what I eat or what I consume, and simply just, sort of going with the flow. Yeah, no structure, no plan, no idea about, calories that I was consuming or macros. My diet wasn't bad, but it was not optimal. It wasn't the best way to sort of consume food. It was moderate. So at the time, I decided, okay, I'm tired of this. I want to actually make a change in my life. I want to actually change my body. I was already very active, and I used to train, I used to do a lot of martial arts, but my body never looked good, and I thought, okay, I really want to make a change now. So I embarked on a journey, and in that journey, we start off, the first stage I had to go through was building a foundation. Now, what do I mean by that? By building a foundation, I had to focus on building the right habits into my day-to-day life. I didn't start off my journey with full blast sprint. I started off my journey with simply trying to implement the right habits into my day-to-day life. Specifically, habits that are going to set me up for success in the long term. You have to bear in mind, this is 12 weeks, it's 3 months. 3 months of work, of consistent work, where you have to be strict with your diet, where you have to train consistently 3 to 4 times a week, where you have to do cardio regularly, and where you really have to watch out what you eat and what you put into your body. Still, while working full time and while doing my side business at the time, which was fitness coaching. So I really had to have correct habits. I really had to have solid habits, a solid foundation that will set me up for success in the future. So that's what I did. So for the first 4 weeks, here you can see each stage lasts about anything between 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it may take you 8 weeks, but to simplify things, we'll say 4 weeks. So in those 4 weeks, what I focused on is actually building right habits. So I picked a few habits that I thought, okay, these habits are going to actually help me in my day-to-day life, help me execute everything correctly. So what were those habits? Of course, this is different from one person to another, but I'll give you an example. For me, it was sleep. I was doing 2 jobs, and I was also training. I had to also watch out. I had to be careful with what I eat. So naturally, I was skipping sleep. My sleep wasn't on point. I would sleep 6 hours one day, 8 hours one day, 3 hours one day. So I knew that sleep was going to be a factor that was going to help me push through all these things. So that is something that I focused on, and I spent about a week to 2 weeks trying to fix my sleep. That was my first habit. And with many other habits, of course, Each habit is different from one individual to another. But what you have to do is you have to sit down and you have to think, okay, you have to ask yourself, which habits are going to actually help me become successful in this? If I want to transform my body, which habits do I need, given my current situation, given what I do right now, given the current lifestyle that I live? What are the habits that are going to help me transform my body? You have to ask yourself that, and you have to choose those habits, and then you have to work towards them. And of course, if you have a coach, at the time I was working with a coach, you have a coach, you sit down with your coach, and together you can find, or you can figure out what these habits are. And that is essential. That is very important. You probably, this stage is the stage where you have to spend the most time in. I can tell you that from here. Matter of fact, I didn't spend 4 weeks here. I spent close to 6 weeks on that stage. It took me a while. Like I said, because I was very busy. I was working full time. I was trying to build a business on the side, and I was also training. At the same time, I had to eat clean and I had to be strict. And of course, I wanted to also enjoy my life. I had to sometimes go out with friends, go out with colleagues. So, it's very, very important you spend enough time here building those habits. And honestly, once you build those habits, you'll actually be able to see results. So here, I'll put on a picture. And this is simply after 4 weeks of focusing on my habits. And already you can see the changes from when I started. With just 4 weeks. 4 weeks of specifically focusing on building those habits. Not worrying about going hard in the gym. Not worrying about, being just eating one thing and nothing else. No, but focusing mostly on building habits. And by building habits, you actually start to see the results. Now, once you're done with this, it took me 6 weeks of this. I was here about 6 weeks because I felt like I needed to really, really solidify these habits before I move on to the next stage. Once you're done with this, and once you feel like, okay, these habits are now part of my day, I don't need to think about it. They're part of the structure of my day. Now you get to move on to the second stage, which is developing confidence. Yeah, that is very, very important. That will set you up for the third stage. But developing confidence is very, very important. So now that you have your habits in place, you have your habits in check, now it's time to test your habits. Yeah, now it's time to develop your confidence. And it's very, very important you develop your confidence. Confidence in your adherence to the diet, your confidence in your workouts. Yeah, so you don't just want to go to a workout and just mindlessly work out, You want to build your confidence. You want to be confident in your lift. You want to be able to progressively overload. You want to be able to go to a workout and feel like, okay, you know what, I'm going to take charge and I'm going to actually do my best. And by you developing that, you're setting yourself up now to actually be able to push really hard. And that's another mistake, Another mistake is that people push hard in the first month. I've worked with many clients and I've had many consultation calls. And one of the most common problems I see amongst professionals and entrepreneurs is that as soon as they start their diet, they sprint, they go hard, they give it everything they got. But they don't realize that they cannot sustain this for 12 weeks. That's not possible. In a marathon, if I give you an example, if you've ever done a marathon, in a marathon, you don't start sprinting. You don't. You start actually very slow. Yeah, you're just trying to pick up a pace. Start slow, you pick up a pace. Then, once you pick up that pace, and once you're on a nice pace, you stay on that nice pace for a while. You're not sprinting. You're on a nice pace. You're building momentum. You're building confidence in your run. You're building confidence in your pace. And then at the end, you sprint. When you get to the last 3K or 2K, you really sprint and you really go for it. And you really push it. The mistake is too many people sprint at the beginning, and how long can you really sprint for? You can only sprint for so long, 20, 30 seconds. Then after that, you stop. You either walk or you continue walking. And doing that, it really doesn't really set you up for success in the long term. You kind of sort of, you kind of give up because you've already given all your energy out at the beginning and you don't have enough energy to actually continue this. So people usually give up. They don't continue. They don't follow through. So it's very, very important that after you get the habits, you develop your confidence. Develop your confidence in, like I said, your adherence, your workouts, and your habits, the habits that you've built. You need to test your habits. Yeah. How strong are your habits? Are you able to say no in events? Are you able to still go out and not drink? Are you able to go to a workout and really perform well despite you not feeling well, despite you feeling tired and lethargic? That comes from the confidence you build up. So you have the confidence, you'll be able to execute everything correctly. Which segues into the next part. Once you develop the confidence, and once you have the right confidence, equipped with the right habits, now you have a solid foundation. And now we go to the last stage, which is pushing boundaries. Now you sprint. Yeah. Now it could be anything between 4 weeks to 4 weeks to 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But now you sprint. Now you go for everything. And it's at this stage where you really get the life-changing results. Here, when you first spend the first 4 weeks, you're really going to see a change in your body. And then here, you're not going to see much of a change. So I'll show you this picture here. So you see some change, but the change is not that drastic, because here you're kind of in the same pace. You're kind of developing your confidence, So the changes here in your body are not going to be that drastic, but now you see the life-changing results at this stage right here. And I can show you a picture right here. So now, if you compare, now the physique is very different. Now my body is very different because now I'm at a point where I'm doing things that I don't normally do. I'm on a very, very strict diet on a calorie deficit. I'm doing cardio every day, 6 days a week. I'm training 4 or 5 times a week and I'm training hard, and my body's operating at a level that I don't usually operate at. And once you get to this point, once you're really pushing your boundary, once you're really pushing yourself, and by the way, this is not an easy road, this is tough. At this stage here, you're going to feel like you want to quit. The thought of 4 weeks going through that is very, very tough. But the reward is worth it. And you see it in your body, and you see it in your behavior, and you see it in what you can do. And you see it even mentally, not just physically, but you see it mentally. You see what you're able to accomplish despite all the difficulty and all the struggle that's around you. And trust me, the reward is amazing. And at the end of it, when I reached my transformation checkpoint, it was honestly like finishing a triathlon. I don't know if you've ever finished a triathlon, but it's one of the most amazing accomplishments and feelings you get, and it's internal as well. That's the most amazing thing about it. It's something between you and yourself. The hardship that you went through it, and you realize that you were able to actually follow through, and you were able to, do it despite the odds and despite all the difficulty and despite all the challenges in your day to day. And that's pretty much it. These are the stages you go through, and it may seem challenging, it may seem difficult, but honestly, the reward is worth it, And the reward is not just worth it physically and mentally, but it's also worth it into your day. It becomes sort of part of you, part of your lifestyle. This dedication and this consistency and this hard work spills over into other areas of your life, like your business life, like your family life. The attention of detail, the confidence you develop, spills over, and you don't suddenly just become confident with your diet and with your workouts, but you become confident in other areas of your life. All of a sudden now you're more open to talking to people. All of a sudden now you're a lot more relaxed wherever you are. You're not stressed. All of a sudden now, when you push the boundaries and you really go for it, you find yourself actually pushing boundaries in your business life, pushing boundaries with your relationships, taking risks with things that you never thought you wanted to take risks in. And that's the beauty of having a transformation. It's not just physical, but it transcends that. It goes on beyond that. And that's really the real value you get from the transformation. And that's what I learned mostly. The real result that I got was internal. Of course, physically, the result, you could see it. Mentally, maybe you could also feel it if you knew me. But the biggest win, the biggest result for me was internal. Was the fact that I was actually able to achieve it, that I was able to do it. And just that sense alone is one of the greatest accomplishments you can achieve in your life, in my opinion. Now, I hope this has given you an idea. I hope this has given you an insight into what you go through mentally, psychologically when you're in a when you're in a transformation journey. And I hope this has been helpful and valuable. Now, if you're a professional, if you're an entrepreneur, and you're tired of your current state and you want to make a change, you want to finally achieve the body that you've always wanted, you want to finally achieve that lean body, be fit, be healthy for your business, for your family, you want to transcend and start getting consistent results, then feel free to message me. My channel and my page, my Instagram page, my Facebook page is fairly small, so I reply to every single message I get. So feel free to message me, and I'll be happy to chat to you and see if I can help and see if I can share some value with you. Otherwise, feel free to go to my website, Mo Saeed Fitness Coaching. In that page, you can submit an application. Fill out your details, talk about your challenges, talk about yourself. And once you submit this application, we'll get in contact with you within 48 hours, and we will sit down and talk to you and see exactly how we can help you in your specific situation. Now, I hope this has been valuable. I hope this has been helpful. Talk soon. Mo Saeed.